Raymond Moore, Kilted Prepper here. How's everybody doing? So tonight on the Kilted Prepper, we are going to be talking about survival knives. Hey, Mac, I really just kind of wanted to go in more into the details of the knife and what to look for and pros and cons, the good, and give you some examples here that I've got, and and then also show you my actual favorite, woods knife. Now, I do want to differentiate that I am talking about the woods, and then this is, bushcraft, and then also in regards to an all-around knife, not just, something you use to whittle with or something you use to skin with or something. Hey, John, how you doing? But something that would be an all-around bushcraft knife that could help you basically survive in the woods. So, and I've got some examples here that I wanted to share with you here. But first one I want to show you is this. Now, this looks like a really cool, it's kind of like a mini sword personally, but this looks like it's a really cool knife and everything. It's got some good heft, it's got some nice weight to it and everything. The only negative that I do not like about it, and I don't know if you can see it here, but the tang on it is about 1 inch wide, which isn't bad. I mean, that's a decent tang. It's not a through the tang. I know the tang goes all the way to here because I can bend it right there, but this is a decent knife. Not one of my faves, but a decent survival knife. Now, this would be considered more of a chopper versus something that you would use in multi-purpose style. So I would see this knife as kind of almost a single use. You could use it great for defense as well as chopping, possibly cleaning an animal or something like that. It would help you. But this is, a decent bushcraft survival knife. Another knife, taking it a little bit smaller, is again, this is a common, I guess, clip point knife. Decent. I do like Damascus steel, so I tend to lean towards the Damascus steel stuff and everything. This is really good. Again, I felt with one of my very strong magnets, the tang goes up to here, but as you can see, it's hard to say that it is not a through the tang knife. That's one of the things that you do want to look for in regards to a survival knife, is a through the tang or something with a pretty decent tang. Now, again, I used one of my strong magnets and it ends right about here, but it's hard to tell how wide it is, the tang. So I would assume that this is probably about a 1/2 inch tang that's sticking up in here. So good knife. Now, this is a good sized knife to have, and it would help. And this is a good bushcraft, knife that you would use. Now, another one here, and this is a knife. Yeah, Philip Schrei made this knife, and this is an excellent all-around bushcraft, truly good survival knife. As you can see, the spine on it is rather thick. It is a through the tang. It's got some good handhold, could use some jimping right here just for your thumb and everything. But this is actually a pretty good survival knife. And the things that you're looking for, and the reason I say this is a pretty good survival knife, this has got some weight to it, so you can do some chopping, some hacking. It's small enough and everything so you can use it for food prep and everything. Could use it to clean an animal and things. So overall, this is what I would look for in regards to an everyday, be out in the woods, bushcraft survival knife. Now, I love this knife. Great heft, holds an incredible edge, and it's just a good, hefty, again, through the tang knife that will not, go bad on me or die or break or whatever like this. You can use this to hammer in spikes in the ground. You can use this for chopping wood. You can use this for cleaning an animal or something. This is one of my favorite all-around Bushcraft survival knives. And again, this is what I'm kind of differentiating, is a Bushcraft survival knife, not just a typical survival. I do have one of those Rambo type survival knives, but I was digging in all my boxes today and I couldn't find it to save my life. But I did find the knife that I do use quite a bit in bushcraft and out in the woods and doing all kinds of stuff. And this is made by Cold Steel. They don't make this version anymore. And this is one of my favorite blades that I've got. Now, you can possibly find these on eBay. It is called the Spear Point mini machete or small machete. This thing is great. It's got a great tang on it. The tang goes all the way up to here. It is, again, by Cold Steel. Cold Steel knives are freaking beasts. And they're inexpensive, but they also make knives that are very dependable. And so I really love this. I have used this so much. When I was living in Central America, I was carrying this with me all the time. I mean, I've chopped through vines and wood and hacked off a frickin' fer-de-lance snake's head with this thing. Stupid thing. It's not stupid. It's a great knife. But you can cook with it. You can chop with it. You can stab with it. Good all-around defense. It's got a nice little lanyard hole so you can hold it. The grip is wonderful. Nice rubberized grip and with a nice handhold here to prevent your hand from slipping. But this is made by Cold Steel. I want to say this is around $20 to $30. But they do have a series of these like mini machetes. And they're like mini swords or something. But this is, I think, is discontinued. And so this is hard to find. You can find some of them on eBay and so forth. You're going to pay a lot more for it than what Cold Steel has it for. But the metal is a carbon steel. And one of the things I really love about carbon steel you can basically sharpen with a rock. So if you're out in the woods and everything, you can't find a way to sharpen it, you can just find a nice stone and you can sharpen your blade, with a stone if you have a carbon steel knife. This is absolutely incredible. And I highly recommend these kind of mini machetes that Cold Steel makes. These are excellent bushcraft tools. In fact, if you watched the show Man, Woman, Wild with Michael Hawk, he is using a kukri, a kukri sort of Cold Steel knife in a lot of his shows. And he likes Cold Steel a lot as well. And the kukri, just so you know, this is or kopis or kukri. So this is kind of a kukri shape. Cold Steel has a kukri mini machete, and it is a great knife. They have one that's a little bit longer too, which is also a really great knife. Not as much of a belly on it or a bow in it, but a really, really good blade. I highly recommend Cold Steel products. I love Cold Steel. They make incredible knives and woman. Oh, I see. Yeah, of course. You've seen them all with me, Cynthia. They're great shows. There's a tree in woods in Virginia. Who knew? But Cold Steel makes some incredible products. And again, this is my go-to. I mean, check out the sheath, folks. This thing, I use this puppy, and I've used it like crazy. This is my go-to survival knife when it comes to bushcraft and everything. So it is a great blade. You can use it for protection. You can even use this for home protection. This is really good because of home protection. It's small, it's light, it's very pointy, very sharp. And then you can do some good swinging within the indoors of your home and still fend off bad guys and everything. There was this one article, and I'm going to digress here. Drink. But there's an article of a guy who defended his home with a samurai katana. And it shows pictures of these 3 guys or 4 guys that he took on who are invading his home. And he took a samurai sword to them and just made mincemeat of them. So something like this could make a very good home defense weapon if you don't have a gun or something like that. But Great blade, great bushcraft blade. So things to look for. I like, and again, you can see the spine on this is pretty decent. It doesn't bend at all. You want to look for carbon steel, because with carbon, you can then sharpen your knife anywhere. And then if you had to, if you could find some flint and everything, you can actually strike a fire with this puppy because there's enough carbon in it to strike a fire. So my other knife that, again, I'm reviewing because we've had a lot of people come in, but this is a great all-around in the camp or campground sort of bushcraft survival knife. Things that you want to look for is, again, a full tang. This is a hefty beast, and so she's a great chopper. You can use this in the kitchen. In fact, I've been really tempted to bring this in the kitchen because it is such a great knife. Very, very sharp, holds an incredible edge, and very, very good. I am not a fan of this. Although it looks really cool and everything, it's kind of like single-purposed because it is a Copa style or kukri style blade, and it is really made for chopping. There's not much else that you can do with it, and that's something else too. Because I'm see if I can get the light right. You can barely see the tang in there. The tang is not very big, whereas with this knife and the cold steel knife, one of the things that you're going to do with a bushcraft knife is digging. And I have dug a lot with this knife. And so these two knives are great for also digging. And so digging, chopping, food preparation, all that, you want them for all around knives. But I have used, again, you can see where I've dug and used this, it's digging and everything. So I have used this for digging even. The blade is strong. Doesn't bend or flex or anything. You're not going to snap it or anything. You can get some good leverage with something like this. Whereas with something like this, and again, if you see if I can find, you can barely see the tang there, but the tang is not very wide. And the negative is, if you go to dig, you're going to leverage with this handle. The weakest point is right here, and so you may snap it. And so I'm not a fan of this blade for an all-around bushcraft survival sort of knife. Have I checked out Condor? Yeah, Condor makes some really good blades. Great deals. And in fact, Condor started out in the machete business. And I want to say that they are made in Colombia. I can't remember, but they are made somewhere in Central or South America. So down there when I was living in Costa Rica and Panama, there was a lot of Condor blades down there. So yeah, a lot of cool machetes and other blades like that. So great product, very inexpensive. So, but you want to think of how many dual purposes you can use with your bushcraft survival knife. I could tie this to a stick if I wanted to, or do something to it, wrap it with a stick. I've got a good defensive weapon. I could hunt with this thing, on a stick and stuff. I can dig with this, which I have done. I can chop trees down with this. I chopped banana plants with this puppy all the time when I was living in Costa Rica and everything, chopped down banana plants. It is carbon steel, like I have said, and it will hold a wonderful edge. And then because it is carbon steel, you can sharpen it with a rock. So these are the blades and the type of blades that I am very pro bushcraft. I don't really care for this. This style is cool, but again, it's not very practical for a bushcraft situation. You want a little bit bigger knife. And again, the reason is because for bushcraft, you're doing so much chopping. And so, this wouldn't hold up after a while in a chopping scenario. Good blade, wonderful blade, great for hunting and everything. Not super great for an all-around bushcraft survival situation. So those are the blades that I wanted to show with you and share with you. I do have, like I said, one of those tactical survival blades that I've had since the Army. It's been with me since all my jumps, and, going on the field and going everywhere we used to go and everything. And I can't find it. It's still packed away. Now, for a sideline survival knife, and this is kind of a street survival knife. I've talked about this knife before. This is the Cold Steel Tie-Lite XL. This is a pocket sword. Overall is 13 inches long. And the reason I'm showing you this is because of urban survival. Now, this is more of something that you would use for survival and you know, protecting yourself and other things like this. You could possibly even dig with it and everything. Cold steel blades are just workhorses. And so, pardon? Do what? Yeah. Yeah, you have the smaller version. Cynthia's asking about this. She has the smaller version of this. But this is for urban survival, a really decent knife. Long blade, you can, you know, you could dig with it, you could pry with it. It's got the tie light. I mean, the opening or the locking mechanism is really, really good. Very good practical knife. It runs about $40, very light. And again, reason why I call this an urban survival knife is because you can use this for fighting. You can use this for slashing people with the quinion. You can bang on it and hit people with it. You can, you know, do all kinds of stuff with this. Use this as a like a brass knuckle or a fist thing, so you can punch with it and everything. And then also you flick it open, and when you flick it open and people see this blade, it kind of freaks them out. Now, the great thing about this, and again, urban survival, is that you can choke up on this handle, and you now have from this point to this point that you can put between you and a bad guy. So that's quite a bit of distance right there. And again, the overall length of this is 13 inches. So you can choke up on this, use this as a defensive weapon or an offensive weapon if you needed to. And, you know, basically it's a pocket sword. So great urban survival knife. And again, I was just throwing this in as a little bonus knife because this is, again, is one of my more favorite knives in the world. I've had it on the shows before. And this is an incredible, you know, the triad lock is one of the long, yep, that's what it is, it's got a triad lock system in it. And so this is a great knife. And so for urban survival. And again, this would probably do you pretty well in an urban environment. So these are the knives that I wanted to share with you this evening and kind of give you some ideas of what to look for. Again, you want to look for a nice heavy blade, full tang, something that's got some heft, something that will be used for multi-purposes, so digging, stabbing, chopping, you know, you can use food prep, all that other stuff. So multi-purpose knives for bushcraft. And again, that was the knife discussion tonight, was bushcraft, not, you know, everyday survival, all this other stuff, because there's just tons of knives for tons of uses and tons of things. So now I think that's everything. So we'll see you. I'm Raymond Moore. Goodbye, God bless, and kilt on.